Good afternoon. I'm Bill Schelling. I'm president of the Wyoming Business Alliance. I'm pleased to have you have this session here in a state that is a natural producing state in terms of commodities. I'd like to talk about scale. Scale in terms of the coal industry in the state of Wyoming. In the Federal Register that talked about this program today, the EIA talked about a 5-year cycle, 2008 to 2013, where coal production was down by 16% nationwide, and that's correct. But what that register fails to do, and what the BLM and I'm assuming the EPA and others combining forces in terms of research fail to mention, is the cyclical nature of commodity production. And that needs to be accounted for in your research. Because minerals have a cyclical effect because of supply and demand, generally 5 to 10 year cycles. That's something that has to be considered because you're trying to make decisions from this point going forward, but not taking into account that cyclical nature. Campbell County, 35 years ago, was a small rural community with limited services. Coal began production in the early 80s. When oil went in the tubes in our state and nationwide, were it not for coal in the late 80s and throughout the 90s, Wyoming would have been in the same position as it had been when the late Governor Stan Hathaway was elected back in the 60s, broke. But because of coal, our economy was sustained and stabilized. It had a remarkable factor. And in those days, coal production was only at about 100 to 200 million tons per year. Campbell County's employment is primarily dominated by goods-producing sectors.
Hello.
Jobs that add value to the economy. That 40% figure is about twice that of the state's overall average and more than twice of the national average. So that 40% accounts for all the rest, quite frankly. That also is not mentioned in your research, and it has to be. You have to distinguish between goods producing and service providing. And the folks that you have heard today, these miners, they are the goods producing people that make our lives that much better. The number of jobs, 2,000 jobs, direct and indirect, that have basically been lost in the coal industry in recent months. Imagine that percentage were applied to a larger metropolitan area. Take Campbell County's population, multiply that out. Let's take Chicago. So instead of it being 2,000 jobs, it would be more like 100,000 jobs in Chicago. The 2,000 jobs.
Look at what happened in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania.
But 100,000 plus jobs in Chicago would be national news. My point making, it's a scale issue. The Wyoming Business Alliance fully opposes the movement here to raise the royalty payments for the coal industry, and we fully support the good work that is done over the years. Thank you very much.
Thank you.